So we got a new definition. So we have a couple lines here that are being crossed by another line. This line that crosses them is called the transversal. Yes, it crossed the line. Yes. So you guys know, like, have you heard the phrase like a transatlantic flight? Well, what do you think that means? It's a plane. You're flying a plane across the Atlantic, right? Trans just means crossover. So transversal is the line that crosses over any other lines. If you draw it right, like this, all three of those lines are transversals. Okay,
Because they're going across two different lines.
because they're crossing two other lines. Most of the time in this chapter, the picture will look something like this. So
Wait, so the
one transversal, yeah.
So the two lines. Okay, so the one that's going up and down, that one is transversal, but the ones that are going left and right are not. Because they're only going through one line.
Right. Yeah, as far as we can see. Now, are these two lines parallel? No. Okay. Even if, guys, I know you're talking about geometry, but you need to listen. Even if lines look like they might be parallel, you can't assume that they are unless they tell you they are. And the way a book usually tells you lines are parallel, they might say it like in the directions, but they also might just put a little symbol, like arrows on it. Now these lines are not parallel, you can tell by looking, but if they were parallel, they would probably put two little red arrows on it to show that they were. Also, you can't assume that lines are perpendicular. What's perpendicular mean?
Like crossing.
90 degrees. So this doesn't look quite perpendicular. It looks close, kind of, but even if it did look like it was, you don't know for sure unless they tell you.
And I'm assuming they'd use like that little box.
Yeah, they use the box symbol usually. All right, how many angles did I create here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's kind of two groups of 4, right? 4 up here, 4 down there. And we got a lot of names for these angles. So you see how like 1 and 5 are both in the upper left corner, 2 and 6 are in the upper right. Those matching angles are called corresponding angles. Like angles 1 and angle 4. Or sorry, I said that wrong. 5. 1 and 5. Whoopsie. So what other angles are corresponding besides 1 and 5? 2 and 6. What else? 8 and 4. What else? 3 and 7. You guys see it? Those are called corresponding angles. Okay. Also, we have something called alternate interior angles. Alternate interior, so it's on alternate sides of the transversal, so like alternate sides, and they are interior to the two lines. Yeah, you might think 3 and 4, but actually you have to alternate like from up here to down here. So it's like 3 and 6 and 4 and 5 are alternate interior. So I'll just write down 3 and 6 as an example. Angle 3 and angle 6. Oh, okay, I'll write 4 and 5 too. So if that's alternate interior, guess what alternate exterior is? Alternate exterior. Back to the picture. So alternate sides means opposite sides. But they're exterior to, they're outside of the two lines that are running together. So it would be like 2 and 7 and 1 and 8. Those are alternate exterior. Let's put 2 and 7. 1 and 8. Okay, we've got one more group that we need to talk about. Okay, some books call this same side interior. So interior same side, so that's like 3 and 5, 4 and 6. This book calls it, not corresponding, consecutive interior, I believe is what they called it. Yes, consecutive interior angles. So they're inside, they're on the same side of the transversal. So 3, 5, and 4, 6, consecutive interior. Consecutive means just one right after the other, so they're kind of like next to each other. Consecutive interior. Kind of forgot what I said. Was it 3 and 5 and 4 and 6? All right. Are we good so far? If you forget that or what you need to look at that again, those are on page 108. All right. Is angle 1 and angle 5 the same angle? No, they're not. How could I make them the same? Okay. Now does angle 1 and 5 look the same? Kinda. What did I do?
Move the line.
Made the lines parallel. Okay. So rule number 1, this is a postulate. I kind of missed it. Well, my lines aren't straight. I probably should have used the smartboard lines. Why are you doing that? Okay, pretend those are parallel. So rule number 1, this is a postulate. If the lines are parallel, then corresponding angles like 1 and 5 are congruent. See how 1 and 5 look congruent? Do 2 and 6 look the same? Yeah, pretty close, right? 2 and 6 look the same, 4 and 8 look the same, 3 and 7. So if the lines are parallel, corresponding angles, this is the first thing we talked about, are congruent. That's called a corresponding angle postulate, but you don't really have to remember. If you can just say the rule corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel, that's good enough. Actually, I might just let you write corresponding angles. Like if they say angle 1 is angle 5, what's the reason I know that? Because they're corresponding angles of parallel lines. Yeah, we'll get to that later. All right. And if that is true, so let's say I knew that angle 1 was, what's that look like? Maybe 120 degrees or so. Then angle 5 would have to be what? 120 degrees, because they're corresponding angles. What other angles can I figure out if those are 120? Okay, if I know angle 1 is 120, what else can I figure out in the picture?
40.
Okay, what's angle 4 have to be?
120.
How do we know that?
Because
They're vertical angles, right? And if 5 is 120, 8 is 120 for the same reason. Vertical angles, that's a theorem. Some of you on the test put definition, that's not a definition. Definition of vertical angles is that these are vertical angles. The theorem is that they are congruent. But yeah, we can just say because they're vertical angles. What else? There's more I can figure out. What's angle 2 have to be? 60. How'd you know that? 1 and 2 are a linear pair. They make a line together. And what do we know about lines? They have to add up to 180. So 180 minus 120 is 60. If angle 2 is 60, then 3 is 60. 1 and 3 also are a linear pair, right? They have to be added to 180. Anyway, these two are 60 because they're vertical. Why is 660? Well, because they have to add up, these two have to add up to 180, or these two have to add up to 180, or these are, what kind of angles are these?
adjacent.
Corresponding angles are congruent. That's the postulate we just learned. So this one has to be 60 because they're vertical, or because corresponding angles are congruent. So notice all of them are either the same as each other or they are supplementary, right? They're all either the same angle or they're supplementary to another angle. There's only two different angle measurements up here. That happens every time in these pictures because of the rules. Okay, so something else. Rule number 1 that we learned, corresponding angles are congruent if lines are parallel. That's a postulate, corresponding angles postulate. But there's some other things that we can say. Alternate interior. What can I say about angles 3 and 6? They are congruent, right? And 4 and 5, same thing. Those are called alternate interior angles, and they are congruent. That is a theorem. Thunder outside. That's a theorem because it's something you can prove. It's called alternate interior angle theorem. You don't really need to remember the name, although it's not that hard to remember, but you just need to know if the lines are parallel, alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay? These are the same, these are the same. Alternate interior angles. How about alternate exterior angles? What do we know about those angles? Also congruent. 2 and 7, for example, are the same. 1 and 8 are the same. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. That's another theorem. Guess what it's called? Alternate exterior angle theorem. When you're doing a proof, you can either say your reason is alternate exterior angle theorem, or you can say the theorem, which is alternate exterior angles are congruent when lines are parallel. Okay, the last one is consecutive angles, 3 and 5, 4 and 6. What do you think we can say about consecutive angles? Consecutive interior. They are supplementary. They add up to 180. Okay, we can use that now too. That's a theorem also. Consecutive interior angle theorem. These have to add up to 180. These have to add up to 180. Alright? So those are all the tricks we know on this chapter. Actually, there is one more that doesn't get pictured. If you have a transversal on two parallel lines and it's perpendicular to the first line, then guess what? It's got to be perpendicular to this one as well. Because if this is 90, corresponding angle is 90. So
Wait, dang it. Never mind.
if the transversal is perpendicular to the first line, the second parallel line is also perpendicular. All right. I think we're ready. You guys ready? Page 111?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
I said it. I would, yes. That's true. I didn't say when I would.
What number to what number?
How about I give you a meeting with the stick instead? Don't worry, Marianne. I will keep to my word.
And that sticks are reserved for another kid in another class.
That's actually officially the Xander beating stick.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Which thing? Which thing?
Makes you uncomfortable.
The white one, that's what I thought.
So the one that.
We're working on
The blonde hair white one.
Has
light
skin.
She put flowers in
Okay.
hers.
Says determine whether each statement is true, false, or cannot be determined from the picture. Number 1 says line AC is a transversal of EB and CD.
That's true. No.
Is that true, false, or we don't know?
Wait.
We don't know.
It is true. It's definitely crossing both of those. So on number 1, true.
Wait, isn't there 4 lines there though?
There are 4 lines, but is AC transversing? Is AC crossing over EB and CD?
It is.
It
but
is.
I thought that you counted right because we're doing more than just that.
Okay, on number 3, it says line AB is a transversal for AC and CB. Is AB crossing both of those lines? Yes, it is.
Yes.
They were correct.
Do we just, on the problems that can't be determined, do we just write out can't be determined, or is there
So what's the line?
CTV.
Yeah, if you put CBD, I guess it's fine. Okay,
I'm torn, would that be more than cannot determine because it doesn't tell us?
yeah, if it doesn't tell you the lines are parallel, you don't know for sure.
CBD.
Number 5, yeah, CBD. Number 5, do we know AC and CD are perpendicular?
Wait, perpendicular.
No.
Perpendicular means 90-degree angles. Do we know for sure?
AC.
It looks like it might be, but do we know? No, we don't. So what are we gonna put?
False.
CBD.
Go with CBD, yeah.
You said
Oh, we can agree on it.
We don't know whether it's true or false. It could be 90, could be something else, so it's CBD. Cannot be determined. Number 7, what does E-C-D mean?
They're all on the same line.
They're on the line, they're in that order, like they're collinear. Is ECD in a line?
Nope.
No. So that one is false.
We were talking about 6 there? I said this one.
Okay, number 9. You guys see the picture for 9? It's kind of like the one I drew on the board. The directions say assume that M is parallel to N, but line M is parallel to line N. And you see the red arrows in the picture? That's also telling us the lines are parallel. Okay, so on number 9 it says angle 4 is 40 degrees. If that angle 4 is 40, how do we know angle 5? What would angle 5 have to be? It's also
Same.
It's also 40. Angle,
It's 40.
yeah. See how they look the same? What are those called right there? 4 and 5 are called what?
You said it was.
Are they on the same side of the line? No. So they're alternate interior angles, which are always congruent if the lines are parallel.
Is that what you want to
Really?
No, I want you to write 40 degrees. But you need to know the alternate interior thing for later. Number 11, angle 8 is 46 degrees. Do you guys see angle 8 in the picture?
Number
What?
9 was 40 degrees, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
If angle 8 is 46 degrees, what does angle 1 have to be? 46. Basically, yeah, those are alternate exterior angles, right? Those have to be congruent. Basically, if they look the same on these pictures, they are the same. If they don't look the same, what do we know about them? Talked about this like 5 minutes ago. If they're not the same angle, what do we know about them though? They're not opposite.
See Mrs. Nettleton real quick. No reason.
Do I need to bring anything?
His class is almost over if you just want to get your stuff. I don't know where your next class is. So if it's up there, you know.
I think we got like 20
I
minutes.
don't know what their office is.
It's the old music room.
It's,
Okay, Mrs. Nettleton.
Oh,
She is so cute.
not true.
I have no idea who this is. So.
It's Mr. Nettleton's mother.
Yeah, no, really.
I don't think he knows Mr. Nettleton either. I introduced him
No.
to him.
Oh, the.
Okay,
Yeah.
He's been to them. He did, didn't he?
if
He was like.
you guys remember when we did this picture earlier? All these angles were the same angle, or they were supplementary. Remember that from earlier? Okay, anyways.
I don't see anybody in here except for one I won't name, Carson. Guys, it's not an excuse. Dress-up days and homecoming is not an excuse to break dress code. Okay, if you dress up, that's one thing, but when you don't even attempt to follow the theme of the day, you can't just wear gym shorts and an ugly t-shirt.
I had no idea what today was. I knew when it was.
It's better than a Texas Tech hoodie.
So basically, he's saying you're not supposed to wear athletic shorts.
I have no idea what today was. I know Monday was Bedlam. So tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Has to be Bedlam because Friday's
Wait, what is tomorrow?
was
I know 13 is.
Tomorrow's Bedlam.
OU Oklahoma State.
I have
I
no
know
idea.
13 is.
Okay, hold on. 13. Hold on. Shh. 13. If angle 3 is 135 degrees, what does angle 5 have to be? Okay. What do we know about 3 and 5? Look at the picture. Look at the book.
135.
Dylan.
It has to be 135.
Is there consecutive?
No, they're not. They are not the same angle. Definitely not. They're consecutive interior. They're both on the same side, 3 and 5. They have to do what?
Add it 20.
They have to add up to 180.
So 1 is 125.
So if you do 180 minus 135, that will give you angle 5.
130 minus angle 5. But we don't know. Wait, no, yeah.
3 and 5 are consecutive interior. They have to add up to 180. So
Wait,
if
so you subtract.
3, yes, just subtract.
Wait, but you subtract 135 and 40, right?
No, there is no 40.
You said, yeah, no.
180, yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's just it's 45.
Yep, it's 45. Number 15, you guys ready? If angle 8 is 6x plus 12, then what do we know about angle 4? It is the same thing. See how they look identical? They're also corresponding angles, so we know they have to be identical.
Do we just write 6x?
So we write 6x plus 12. Technically, we should be putting little degree symbols on all these answers because they're...
I did. I'm just an overachiever on this. Shh.
Okay, 17 says angle 5 is 3x plus 9.
Weren't 17, we didn't even do 15, did we?
We just did it. Okay, angle 5 is 3x plus 9. So what do I know about angle 3? Is it the same thing? No.
Isn't it 57 degrees?
No. We don't know what it
It's
is.
gonna add to whatever that.
Okay, how did we do? It's just like 13, right? Angle 3 and 5. How did we do 13?
We subtracted 180.
We did 180 minus that angle to get the other angle, right? So what do we have to do? We have to do 180 minus the given angle to get the other angle. 180 minus 3x plus 9 should give us the other angle. This is number 17. Okay, can we simplify that a little bit?
You can distribute it.
Distribute the minus 180, not multiply, right? It's not a multiply problem. 180 minus 3x minus 9. Now what can I do?
No idea, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Plus 7.
That.
180 minus 9 is
What's the
171 minus 3x. Can't divide by 3. We're not solving an equation, we're just simplifying. This is like,
Do we put the degree symbol?
yeah, technically I should put a degree symbol. I usually put parentheses and then the degree symbol out there.
What time do you lose this class?
That's it, that's all we can do. I think like 5 till or something, I don't remember exactly. It's a 10 till or 5 till.
Divide to
10:45.
Okay, number 18 is a tricky sucker. If they're saying if the line, it's a multiple choice. If the lines are not parallel, then which of those could we actually figure out? Well, do the evens first, then you might. That's a hard one. Number 19. So a similar picture, right? And it says angle 5 and angle 7. Angle 5 equals blah, blah, blah. Angle 7 equals blah, blah, blah. What do we know about angle 5 and angle 7? They're corresponding. And what does that mean? If the lines are parallel, what do we know? They're the same angle. So if they are the same angle, what am I going to do? What am I going to write? They're equal. So 3x plus 9 equals 4x minus 3. 19. Okay, if I have x's on both sides, what do? Subtract 3x. Get rid of the x's on one side, but if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other. Get 9 equals x minus 3. Now what? Plus 3. Get rid of that. 12 equals x. Okay, that's our answer to A. That's the first thing they asked. And then B says, find the measurement of angle 5. So how do I find, plug in x. We just figured out x was 12. So if I plug in 12, if you look at the problem, it says 3 times x plus 9. So it's 3 times 12 plus 9. Okay, 36 plus 9 is 45. I didn't think it was going to rain that much today.
Oh, yeah, it's
It's supposed to be tomorrow is where we get all the rain.
All the way to Sunday.
No, not that much. We had like a 40% chance today and then like a 80% chance tomorrow and Friday.
I'll tell you later.
And then Saturday is like, goes away.
So is B just 45?
B is 45 degrees. How do I find angle 8? No, they didn't tell us what angle 8 was. But if you look at the picture, how are angles 5 and angle 8 related?
35. 135.
They are supplementary, right? If angle 5 is 45 degrees, then angle 7 must be 45 degrees. If angle 7 is 45 degrees, then the other angle right next to it is supplementary to it.
135.
So right, you do 180 minus 45 degrees. Yes, 135. Okay, I'm not going to do 20, but I will talk about it with you a little bit. You guys listening?
Did we do 18 together, or did you just tell us how to do it?
18? No, we didn't really talk about it.
Add the two
Okay.
together, you get 180.
On 20, what do I know about angle 2 and angle 3? They're supplementary angles. So what does that mean though? They're consecutive, so they have to be supplementary. So what does supplementary mean? They add up to 180. So how am I going to set up number 20?
Those two equal 180.
Right. This plus that equals 180. So what are you going to write?
8x plus 12.
No, you're on the wrong one.
2x
2x plus 8.
plus 6x plus 4 equals
Right. 2x plus 8 plus 6x plus 4 equals 180. Okay, number 21. I'm not going to give you time to do that one. Says angle 4 equals blah, blah, blah. Angle 5 equals blah, blah, blah. So how are angles 4 and 5 related?
There's vertical.
alternate exterior.
They're alternate exteriors. So what does that mean though? They're the same. So how am I going to set up 21? They're equal each other again, just like 19. So 5 times 4 plus x is equal to 2 times 6x minus 11.
Stop littering.
Marion,
Started cracking jokes.
turn it down a notch. Okay, what's our first step to solve this problem?
Distributive property.
Distributed property.
I did it.
He did it. Okay, and what's that side gonna be?
20 plus
12x minus 22. Got x's on both sides. Jaden, what do I do here?
Minus 5.
Minus 5x 7 x minus, now we got a normal problem.
42, x equals 6.
You couldn't wait, could you? Just had to say it.
I know, man,
Thank
I'll
you.
say it. Just tell me not to.
Move it up.
Wait.
You're that. Oh.
Oh,
You're
what?
fine.
Is that far enough?
Can we finish this on our own?
Well, we gotta talk about 22.
Yeah, set us
That's what
up,
I meant,
please.
this question.
Please.
So on 21, angle 4, you just gotta plug the x in, right? Just like we did on 19. Angle, and for part C it says angle 1. Angle 4 and angle 1 are supplementary again.
So 180.
So you do 180 minus to B, yes. You do 180 minus the answer to B. Okay, on 22, it's fill in the blank stuff, but it's kind of weird because they don't tell us what the given is. We're supposed to take the given from the picture. So what can we assume from the picture on 22?
2 and 3 added together.
Somebody said it, and what'd you say, Archer?
A and B are parallel.
Yeah, do you remember how we say lines A and B are parallel? Like the easy way to write it? The parallel symbol? 2 lines like that. And the book also wrote, I wouldn't care if you wrote this or not, the book also wrote T is a transversal. Okay. For AB. And then that would be like the given. So guess what the right side of line 1 should say? Given, yeah, that shouldn't really be a guess, it's just repeating every other proof we've ever done. Okay, on line 2, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but on line 2, they said angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. How did they know angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent? In the picture, what kind of angles are those? Not given. They're corresponding angles. If the lines are parallel, we know corresponding angles have to be congruent. And that's what we're going to say for our reason on line 2. Corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. I'll write that down. Corresponding, or you could write down corresponding angle postulate. I think I'll just write that actually.
Okay.
Because writing the whole postulate out actually, writing the whole postulate out takes too long. Angle postulate. Okay, line 3, this one was kind of on the test prep that we did. So on line 2, we just said angle 1 is congruent to angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. On line 3, we're saying blank because definition of congruent angles. If 1 and 3 are congruent, then what do I know? Then their angles, the measurement of their angles are the same. Okay, the little m means like the degrees of the angle. Yeah, measurement of angle 1 is equal to measurement of angle 3. The reason we knew that is because the other lines were
Can you put on 4 for the reasons, like consecutively interior? Like definition?
no, 1 and 2 are not consecutive in interior. What is angle 1 and 2 in the picture on them? Well, what's it called when they're right next to each other on a line?
Parallel.
Linear pair. Linear pairs are supplementary, right? So that's how we knew they added up 20. That's the answer for the next one.